beautiful Saturday right here. I am just so super excited because we are going to terrains today that is definitely going to be fun. It's going to be learning, and it's going to be a very huge learning curve for us. A very, you know, very beneficial engagement because we are going to be we are hosting already. I mean, it's live in our studios. We are hosting a professional in the area of child psychology. He has many parts to him and he has a lot to offer, which I know is going to benefit us individually and collectively. Welcome to If You Ask Jimmy. Today we have in our studios Reverend Wasiu Adekunle Amao. Reverend Amao is an experienced child psychologist having his background in education from the University of Pretoria with a bachelor's degree and also a master's degree in child psychology from the University of Cape Town. He has been an educator for decades right now. And beyond and above being an educator, Wasiu Adekunle Amao is a learner support was a learner support consultant in the Western Cape Department of Education in South Africa. Today, we are having in our studios consultant, child psychologist Wasiu Adekunle Amao. Welcome to our studios.
Um, Thank you very much. It's nice to be here, and I'm looking forward for an interesting and fulfilling engagement. Welcome. I thank all the viewers, and I hope that you are going to have a wonderful time. Thank you very much.
Amazing. We are going to give you the opportunity to us to expand my introduction a bit because you will be able to capture it better to let us understand the scope of your domain so that our viewers they might have questions that they might want to chat in as this program is going on. Can you tell us a little more about yourself, sir?
Okay. All right. I'm a 51-year-old, almost 51-year-old man. I'll be 51 sometime in May.
Great.
And I didn't start off as an educator, actually.
Mm,
But I got to South Africa in 1998, then I decided to go into education. And because of the challenges associated with that society, the challenges in crime, the challenges in drugs, the challenges of not having both parents in the home, I felt like there was more to be contributed. And I felt like one needed to find out more about the society and what was going on. So I had to go and learn, go to the field of child psychology, where I actually got my qualifications from University of Cape Town. So at the end of the day, yeah, I am also a preacher. I founded Rafa Christian Fellowship in Nelspruit, South Africa. I pastored for quite a number of years. But currently, I would say I've retired and I'm in Lagos. But I still consult time and again for schools and for other educational institutions, even virtually as well.
amazing. At least you were able to help us to put that, to situate that for us. Thank you very much, uh, Wasiu Amao. If I might also ask you that, you know, from what you're saying, your your domain today was driven out of your concern for what was going on around you. What are the things that you found that needed to be done better that made you to navigate into your professional area right now?
Okay, the kind of society that I stayed in South Africa for like over 20 years, you'll find out that as a teacher, a lot of things are very difficult to maneuver and very difficult to comprehend. It's not like the educational setup in Nigeria where children to a certain degree are more compliant and they listen and they have a lot of respect for their teachers. But that kind of society is a society whereby children have a lot of freedom. You understand? And corporal punishment, thank God, is not even allowed there. But that actually puts the fear and the respect for teachers out of their hearts. And a lot of them have issues at home. You know, there's a high incident of rape and gender-based violence in South Africa. And as a result, you find out that some of the children we teach, they are exposed to such things and they've been victims of such things. So we expect them to listen in class and we end up teaching them and they can't comprehend, they can't listen because of certain experiences that they're going through and certain things that are happening in the home. And that was the reason why I decided that maybe I could help these children better by going into the field of child psychology. And there was an area in South Africa there is an area in South Africa called Tembisa. It's in Gauteng, and that place has a lot of drug users, and you have a lot of intelligent students that will be intelligent children that will be out there. They've left home and they are smoking all manner of drugs and illicit substances. So I, as a person, found that heartbreaking, and my goal was to educate myself more so that I would be able to communicate with them and see how I can intervene in their situation. And that was why I went into the field of child psychology.
Amazing. I can relate with what you are saying. I've been to South Africa, you know, repeatedly, and I have been to Harten, and I was in Ramberg sometimes ago. Is it Braamfontein? Am I still locating it properly? And I saw what was going on around some stores there where, guys would just hang out and they're, handing over amala and all those kind of things, all those language and slangs they use on the street. And one can really relate that. I mean, you will be sorry. I mean, I can imagine you seeing that repeated. I was just a visitor, but to see that continuously, but it's good that you are able to at least see yourself as part of the solution and not just staying on the sideline condemning people. And that leads me to the next question. You mentioned something about um, corporal punishment and the kind of impact it has in our own society, even though you say it's not correct, it's not the right way, but that at least makes you, I mean, it contains the excesses of children from Nigerian background you are coming from, but that does not exist. It is not so over there in South Africa. What will you say generally about corporal punishment as a professional child psychologist? Because people here in where we are, I'm in the US. I mean, we don't spank children. Not okay. Generally, most of us that migrate here, we come to learn that we do not have to spank our children like we do at home. One of our guests here recently, who was a medical doctor and a professor of parasitology, he studied and practiced in Germany, and he told us that in Germany, it is against the law to even spank children. And I looked it up, I found it so. Now, whether it is legislated or not, or legal or illegal, what would you like to say about corporal punishment for children?
All right. There are three types of motivation. You can motivate a child in three ways. Okay? There are three types of motivation. There is incentive motivation, whereby you tell a child that if you are able to achieve this, you get this reward. Now, there is fear motivation, where you're able to tell a child that if you do not do this, this is going to be your punishment. And there is attitude motivation, whereby you've trained the child to always do the right thing. But the best kind of motivation is incentive motivation, not fear motivation. What corporal punishment achieves is that it brings fear motivation. And a lot of children that are subjected to serious corporal punishment, they normally have low self-esteem because they are not able to express themselves when they need to express themselves. And that actually affects them growing up. They won't be able to express themselves properly, and it actually affects their self-image and their self-esteem, because then the moment they get beaten for the little infractions, they will not understand the next thing they will do in order to get
Mm.
corporally punished all over again. So as a result, yeah, it tends to make them a bit docile.
Mm.
So if you look at nations where corporal punishments are abolished, nations like first world nations, basically, you will find out that those are where most of our inventors come from.
Mm.
Those are where most of the award-winning professors and professionals come from. They were not corporally punished, but they were able to achieve great things in life.
Mm.
I, as a child growing up, I went to a high school where there was corporal punishment. And I can remember, even as a quiet student then, I was a very quiet person in school. I never wanted any problems. But as a quiet student, yeah, I would get punished even in class because the class is making noise.
Mm.
And for me, this is brutal. And for me, this is assault. This is me being assaulted undeservedly.
Mm.
Nobody deserves assault. So I think corporal punishment as a way of affecting a child's self-esteem and a child's ability to be coherent and to express themselves in a good way. And like the examples I said, yeah, that countries, first world countries, where corporal punishment are not is not enforced, you'll find that they're even doing way better than our own countries where corporal punishment is still the order of the day. Look at our politicians, for example. Corporal punishment did not stop them from stealing government fund. So
Mm.
corporal punishment is not achieving anything basically. I, as a father, I have desisted from punishing my own children corporally, but I have ways of punishing them if I need to by taking away their privileges or reducing their pocket money. And there are other ways to make children comply. Thank you.
Amazing. That is so loaded. You packed a lot of things there. Wow, incentives. And you are opening our paradigm to see even societies that do not permit corporal punishment because it allows creativity. That's what you are saying. And that children might not even know what they are being corrected for and what the expectations are when they are just spanked out of probably anger and disappointment by the parent, and it's just brutal and very vicious. Thank you very much. You have a presence in the social media. You are very loud on social media. You are well known. What do you do in the social media space? What exactly, value are you adding? What is the message that you are putting out there? And also, please share your social media handle with us when you finish answering that question.
My social media, I do not handle cases of from my profession. What I handle in social media is the level of insults that Nigerians get around the world. For example, in South Africa, where every crime is attached to a Nigerian, even
Wow.
when a Nigerian is not involved.
Not
In fact,
involved.
recently, there's a story of a South African woman that actually sold her own child to another South African. And
Mm.
because the child was missing, she needed to give an excuse. And the excuse she gave was that Nigerians kidnapped my child. And my child is on the way to West Africa as we speak. A Nigerian called me over the phone and introduced himself that he's a Nigerian and he has kidnapped my children and my child and my so. Due to the investigation of the police officer, they found that she was actually the one that sold her child to another South African. But the moment she mentioned Nigeria like this, they would change the focus away from her. So a lot of people use Nigeria to hide their crimes. And that
Wow.
is what I address on social media, basically on TikTok.
Wow.
And on TikTok, my handle is Coach Ade on TikTok, Coach Ade on
Wow.
TikTok. So
Wow.
I address some of these issues of Nigerians being extrajudicially killed by
Mm.
the South African police services, or Nigerians being falsely accused. There was a case of a Nigerian who had a South African girlfriend, and the father found out that she had a South African girlfriend. Yeah, she had a Nigerian boyfriend, and the father was not happy.
Mm.
And she told the father that she was actually raped by the Nigerian boyfriend. And the
Wow.
Nigerian guy got arrested for like 3 to 4 years. He was in jail only for her to confess later
Wow.
that no, he didn't rape me. I just had to say that because you were disappointed. My father was disappointed that I was dating a Nigerian. So those are
Yeah.
the issues that are addressed on social media, on TikTok. Anybody can just Google Coach Ade or go on search for Coach Ade on TikTok. But I attend to South African, Nigerian political issues. That's what I attend to there. Mm.
Wow. That is amazing. So what you are saying is that you are more into advocacy and standing up for Nigerian issues and the welfare of people, apart from your domain in child psychology. That's really amazing. That means you are very big on Nigeria. That attribution is not only through South Africans. I was in Southeast sometimes ago. I wanted to travel, I think 2013. I wanted to just explore, some neighboring countries. So I went to the embassy of Swaziland. I think that was in Pretoria. Okay.
Yeah,
And then,
Arcadia. Yeah.
yeah, Acadia, where the government seat is at, the seat
Mm.
of government. And someone was telling me that, do I know that sometimes Cameroonians, there was a conversation because we were kept outside the gate, all right? And
Mm.
that there are, I'm sorry to say this, I have to mention Cameroonians, Ghanaians who pretend to be Nigerians and they do certain things just because we are all blacks and you can't distinguish us. Sometimes some of the things that are attributed to Nigerians actually happened through some of these other nationals, right? And even in some other parts of the world, people don't know the difference. Sometimes some people actually, maybe because of the porosity of our system in the past, I don't know right now, when we did not have a national ID, people will come and obtain Nigerian passports.
Mm.
And even though they are West Africans from other parts or Africans of any origin, in Europe
Mm.
and America and Australia or other parts of the Western world, they may not even know the difference in their accents.
Mm.
But because they carry the Nigerian passport that they have obtained illegally, they will hide under the guise of that passport and the persona in order to do some terrible things. I'm just corroborating my own little experience of what you are sharing with us. Thank you very much for that. So, viewers, you can watch out or just go look up Coach Ade on the social media space. Coach Ade, let me say that. Coach Ade, uh, you are back in Nigeria now. For how long did you stay in South Africa? And many people, when they are abroad, a lot of people say they don't want to come back home. They don't care about Nigeria. That's whatever. They talk down on the country just because they are outside there. Sometimes they have this superiority complex and everything Nigeria doesn't appeal to them. But you are back in Nigeria. Two things.
Mm.
Are you so big on Nigeria? And what do you say to those people who usually condemn Nigeria and talk down on Nigeria? We know our situation is critical. It's really not too easy to, but what are your views?
Okay. I, as a person, I'm Pan-African. I'm pro-Nigerian. I love
Pan-African, pro-Nigerian.
pro-Nigerian. I've been to half of Africa, basically.
Wow.
I've been to half of Africa. I can say that I've been to 26 countries on the continent.
Only
And yeah,
26.
yes.
Wow.
And I've been to Europe before as well.
Wow.
I've not visited the Americas, but I hope probably when Trump is out of power, because I'm saying a lot of things about him that he won't be so pleased if they look at my social media handle. I will not get an American visa. But but about me being pro-Nigerian, it's not because Nigeria favors everybody or because everything is right in Nigeria. No. But I find out here that I go to different countries, even the most peaceful countries on the planet, I still don't feel free.
Hmm.
I still don't feel free. Maybe it's a spiritual thing for me. Maybe it's an emotional thing for me. I do not understand. I go to Swaziland that is peaceful. I will still feel that I'm being boxed in and I can't express myself because I'm a foreigner. I'll go to Lesotho. I'll go to Malawi. I'll go to Namibia. I'll go to Kenya. I'll go to Ethiopia. I'll feel like I'm still not at home. The only place where I feel free, where I can walk, raising my shoulders, is in my country, basically. And that is the only place a Nigerian doesn't get judged by being in Nigeria and is in Nigeria. You can get judged by, by being Yoruba, but you don't get judged by being a Nigerian. This is only because I'm the kind of person, I'm very sensitive to words. You see me, I tell you I'm a Nigerian, and the next thing is, you're a drug dealer. And the next thing, you are into human trafficking. And the next thing, so most of those countries, they have their biases towards Nigerians. So for me, it's a psychological thing for me. Like the only place where I feel at home is when I'm in Nigeria. And now when I felt like I'd contributed enough, and when I felt that I was done with what I was doing in South Africa at that point. And also, I felt like I needed to be around people that I'm more familiar with due to other reasons, health wise as well. I decided to say, let me come back home and let me see what I can do by establishing myself. So I still consult for some schools that need intervention in certain problems or bottlenecks that they have. And also I consult for some parents whose children are giving them hassles, or their children have learning disabilities like dyslexia, attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, and other kind of things like that. So I work with their children virtually and physically as well. But Nigeria is where I am now. But I do take time to go visit South Africa, visit the church, visit my friends and people I know there, and still come back home. But for now, I'm basically based in Nigeria.
Wow. So, some of us would have thought that Nigerians don't usually use the services of consultants. You're talking about ADHD, dyslexia, and some other things. So, what can you tell us about that? Is this something that is really, because sometimes we are not even able to give names to these in our own country, but now the world is very global and people are getting to know more about this phenomenon. Can you tell us more about this? I don't know whether they are disorders or whatever in our society, ADHD and all the rest.
Now, we call them learning disabilities. There are different levels and different categories of learning disability. But in order not to be too technical, I'm just going to describe two of them. Yeah. One is ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity
Disorder.
disorder. Hyperactive disorder. Now, what happens is, in some those cases, a child cannot sit still.
Hmm.
The child has to be busy. The mind, the body has to be busy. And in order for the
Nigerians,
child to comprehend,
Nigerians will say
the
hyperactive.
child, what?
Nigerians will say hyperactive.
I, yeah, hyperactive, yes. So in order for a child to really assimilate what is being passed across, and besides also, the system of education we adopt in Nigeria is we basically do rote teaching where a teacher will just stand in front and just download on the children, and that's that. And they write notes, and though they don't understand the content of the notes they're writing, but children actually learn better from one another. Like you put them
Hmm.
in groups and you give them assignments that they need to get busy in order to be able to complete it. And one of them will make a presentation. And the
Wow.
presentation the group leader makes is what determines the score of the whole group.
Hmm.
That teaches them how to work together as groups and how to research,
Collaboration.
how to come up with facts, how to do presentations and
Hmm.
all that. So, talking about ADHD. Now, a lot of children are given sugar. If you see that your child is hyperactive, it's better for you to avoid giving the child too much sugar, because
Wow.
sugar gives the child extra energy to become more hyperactive.
Wow.
And also, Children that are hyperactive, they need to be calmed down. They need to be calmed down. It's a parent that can do that. You can sit the child down and ask the child questions that needs to explain calmly. So also, you will find out that some children do not get enough sleep. It's a good thing that children must have a routine.
Mm.
Children must have a routine. You see, some children will say, it's not school night, I can watch my phone, I can watch TV until it's 10, 11. Children must have a routine. They need to have enough sleep. So you find that a child sleeps at 11 a.m., 11 p.m., has to wake up at 6 a.m. At the end of the day, the child is not growing enough, but because it's during the sleep that they experience growth. And
Mm.
as they get to school, they can't concentrate because they didn't have enough sleep. And you think the child has a learning disability. Well, what the child just has is a sleep deficiency.
Wonderful.
And also we talk about dyslexia. Holding a book to read or write, sometimes we call it dancing letters. The letters don't stay still in front of a dyslexic child. So there
Mm.
are ways to intervene in such situations where a child has learning disability like dyslexia, and there are ways to intervene. And this is where we come in. We
Um,
diagnose, we learn to diagnose learning disability using some questionnaires and some checklists and some activity sheets, tailor-made for the child, depending on the age of the child. Then we develop a series of tests to determine what kind of learning disability the child has. Then we can develop intervention programs for the child. So there are
um,
different learning disabilities, but those are the two I'll mention for now. Thank you.
wow, I'm also learning. It's a learning curve for me as well, though I'm a very present parent. And that leads me to the next question. We even talk about some of these disabilities, and I do not know if parents are able to catch them early. Let me use Nigeria, for example. Now that you are back to Nigeria, and you can also use your illustration of your consulting globally and your practice in
Mm.
South Africa. Is it not the parent that is present that will even notice a deficiency or a disorder in the child? Most parents, if they are trading, they have gone out very early to get to their trading or marketplaces. If they are corporate, they've hit the road. Let me just use Lagos for an example. People in corporate, most of them, by 5 o'clock they are out. Some people will be saying, five, are you kidding me? I'm already out of the house by 4:30 in order for them to get to their destination. And a lot of parents depend on nannies, they depend on family members, they depend on neighbors in order to get their children through getting to school bus and picking them. Um, what do you see to that parenting? Is there, I do not want to preempt you, but the thing that comes to my mind is the parenting gap. What do you see about that and the ability of the possibility and the propensity, the tendency for the parent to even notice this thing at all? Because usually some dysfunctions that you see later in life were not observed, they were not identified early, and it now becomes a big burden when that person has really grown into full
Mm.
grown adult, and something that could have probably been treated if discovered earlier and fixed now grows, the person grows into adulthood. Is there a parenting gap, and how is our society also not helping to even identify this? You have mentioned the educational system already. Can you extend it to the home as a unit of society and the entire society itself and our
Okay.
values? Thank you.
All right. These disabilities can be picked up by the parents, yes. But most times it's the teachers that normally pick them up at school
Mm,
because parents are not trained to be able to identify learning disabilities.
mm,
That is why in schools it is imperative and it's of utmost importance to have a learner support specialist or a learner support consultant. You find out that 99% of Nigerian schools do not have learner support specialists that can
mm.
actually help a child that is having some of these disabilities within the environment of the school because they don't believe in it. And I found out that most schools in Nigeria, they're just businesses that are out there to make money. This
Wow.
is something I've noticed. They don't care about the well-being of a child. All they just want is the school fees. I mean, the child can have whatever learning disability. In fact, so it got to a point where some schools will actually cook marks for the children so that the parents can be happy that their children are doing well. Their children are doing well. This happens a lot in Nigeria, where teachers actually, in fact, in some terminal exams, some schools are even complicit in examination malpractice so that when the child passes, when the children pass, it will be good marketing for their schools.
Hmm.
So I've noticed a lot of things with Nigerian schools whereby our government is not even concerned about the well-being of a child to the extent of enforcing and mandating there to be a learner support specialist. The only school that I found a learner support specialist in Nigeria so far is the American International School in Abuja.
Hmm.
I never found it any other school that I consulted for. And these were some of the things I told them that they need. They need, even if they can't retain one in the school because of the cost, they can actually refer the children to one that they know. So some of them actually refer the parents to me to deal with those children. But it's important because it's in school that these learning disabilities should be picked up. No, the parents normally might just pass it by, unless the parent is really educated and very, very observant and helps the child with schoolwork. Once the parent helps the child with schoolwork, the parent can be able to pick up one or two things concerning the child. And if the parent does not even know the name of what the child is suffering from, the parent will definitely know there's something wrong because my child is not picking up something the way he or she is supposed to pick them up. So the reason why there's so much behavioral problem in South Africa is simply because most of the people are single parents. It's the women that bring up children. The father in 80%, 70 to 80% of the homes, the fathers are basically absent in
Wow.
70 to 80% of the homes. And it's the women that actually bring up these children. And there's a place for a father in the home. There's a place for a father. So
Hmm.
all those people thinking that I can raise a child on my own, even if you are separated or divorced from the father, allow the father to have contact with the child. There's a place for, like, I interact with my daughters and I give them free speech. They can talk to me about anything. They can talk to me about anything, you know? And as a result, I'm able to know when something is going on with them. But some children are even afraid to talk to their parents about anything. So
Hmm.
it's important for both parents to be in a child's life. But in the unfortunate situation that one of the parents has passed away, there could be an uncle that can actually fill in for the position of a dad, or there could be an aunt that could actually fill in or adopt the child as a mother and be communicating with the child. Every child, there's a reason why there's a reason why it takes a mother and a father to produce a child.
Hmm.
There are some animals that actually they are called asexual. They reproduce asexually. I think so. They don't need a sexual intercourse. They just reproduce by themselves. They don't need genes from any other animal. But there's a reason why we as humans need both the father's genes and the mother's genes in order to make a child, and because both of us have to be involved in that. And there are situations where marriages don't last, where, okay, well, I can't tolerate what the man is doing to me. The woman says, I can't tolerate what the man is doing to me. And the man says, I can't tolerate what the woman is doing to me. And as a result, they decide to separate or decide to divorce. Things happen in this life. But allow the father or the mother,
Hmm.
allow them, allow them to have
Access.
a say in their children's lives. Okay. So that's it. That's that. I'm not sure if I answered some of your questions. Yeah.
Is there something like over answer? No, no, no. In fact, it's very, very brilliant. Coach Ade, right?
Yes. Yes.
Is it Coach Ade? I just want to be sure of your nomenclature. Am I correct with that?
No, call me Amao, Mister. I'm just Coach Ade on TikTok.
Okay, okay. So, this is very, very loaded already. Do you know how much information you condensed in that? That parents should be present in the life of their children. There's a reason why a man and a woman, it takes two of them to make a child. So it also takes a man and a father and mother figure to raise a child as well.
Mm,
And yeah, so that's very, very profound. I'm actually taking some notes, and that 70 to 80% of homes, their fathers are absent. And that
mm,
schools, you loaded a lot of things. You mentioned about schools, 80% of schools in Nigeria, most schools in Nigeria are mere businesses. No, even to process it, I have to listen back to this because it's loaded. And I hope people are listening. And that a lot of schools don't place priority on, is it learner support or something like that? You know,
mm.
that it's only very few. And it means that that gap is there in our society. You have really addressed a lot of things. I wanted to talk about the parental, I wanted you to talk about parenting gap, but now you have mentioned that and the HDHD things and the learner support thing. You talked about corporal punishment. I want to navigate a little bit. I think we've talked about spanking children. Uh, you are back to Nigeria now, but you travel globally. If someone now asks you, this is a routine question for you, it's a regular question. You've been in South Africa
Okay.
for what, that 2 decades, and you still go, you are coming back. Someone says, I mean, because of the pressure of Nigeria, they want to jump out. What would be your advice to them? And also, as you're answering that question, I want you to also zero in a bit on South Africa because I've been to South
Okay.
repeatedly, and there are a lot of Nigerians in the past, they were just exiting into South Africa. It's because you know better than me on that. I have my own view. I didn't see South Africa as being for everybody, the same way Europe and
Mm,
America will accommodate everybody if what they are looking for is jobs, right?
mm.
So if someone comes to you and what's your opinion on Japa right now? And also help me to zero on Southie, especially our people, SA as our people we call it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ah, see, it's not with it. Oh,
We seem to be
Jack.
you seem to be breaking up. Can you take that part again? Okay. We are losing you on audio. You can take it again.
Uh, a lot of people wrong to so able to I would there are very low through it. They would want to of full so
I am having a bit of a problem. Maybe it's my own side.
there
Network can be very funny. Probably people at home are hearing you, our watchers, maybe they are hearing you, but it's breaking up, and what you are saying is very critical. Okay, so from the back
so
end, they say you are breaking. I'll keep quiet and allow you to go over that question again. Yes, they said you are breaking, but
now
it's not your fault. That's technology, sir. So please, I mean, it's not your fault. We do not want people to miss that part of it. I will stop talking right now and allow you to go back on that question. You wanted to address the issue of Japa and also to zero in on Japa, Nigerians exiting to Saudi and your experience. Can you
oh
take that
boy.
again, sir? You are back. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, everyone wants to. Everyone wants to go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, we lost your audio as well right now. Like we're having viewers at home, we're having some technical issues right now. Keep trying, Reverend Wasiu. Just try and you are not muted. I don't know, maybe it's still the network. I don't want you to fret over this. Don't get overboarded. Definitely, everybody knows that you can't be too sure about technology sometimes. So whatever it is, I think it will come back better. It just started getting a little bit it was just acting up a little bit. That's so in the meantime, I think our viewers, you can see that we had a little bit of a technical itch right there, and that is technical itch. It was beyond our control, and Reverend Wasiu is already trying to reconnect to make sure that we are back. Right, you are good. Yes, you can go ahead. You're good. Your positioning is good. It's just the audio now. And I can see you. Your activity is fine. Your video is fine. It's just for us to get the audio back right now. If you can start speaking, you can go ahead and attempt to respond to the question. You are very fine video wise. Okay, I can't hear you. I can see your mouth moving. Uh, it's very funny now that the video is very stable, but it's just the audio might be minor glitch. You know what you can do, sir? Just don't worry. You can log off and then log in back. That should talk. It should fix it. Never mind. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I- Keep speaking. Keep talking. Let's see.
it's no.
Respond to me until you talk. We like. That's when I will know whether it's breaking. Try and respond first. Your video is fantastic. It's good. All right. So, guys, because we need that very, very critical contribution on the aspect of Jakwa and Jakwada. The network started acting up on us, but we are not going to back up. Um, Reverend Wasiu is definitely going to break it down for us because that is a very important, talking point for us as Nigerians now. When he comes back, he will be able to help us to address that issue appropriately. And we are sorry. I think that's what we should do to let you know that we are sorry for that break in communication. I know that he's not feeling comfortable with that break, but he has really expounded a lot of things to us that, that schools do not really invest in learner support services, and that most schools in Nigeria are just like mere business centers. And a great percentage, 70 to 80% of homes have the fathers absent or missing. And of course, we can testify to that. I think he's back right now. Reverend Amao,
I
I'm hearing you. Yes.
don't know.
Our audio is still kind of it's still breaking a little bit. So what do we do? You've logged in and logged out. Okay, hold on. Let me check from the back end. Is
I think. Okay.
It's the internet. It's the internet. Well, your video is so fantastic. Video is heavier than audio. So your video is 100% sharp. It's just the audio that is, but definitely that will be the internet. Uh, Life happens. So yeah. What do we do? Because it is video that should have been hazy, but the video is stable. Sometimes you can't just tell. It's interesting for me because Reverend Amao is dropping very, very serious, you know, how will I put it now? Tips for us and opening our minds, opening our understanding to how things actually are in our environment and how things should rather be. And I'm learning a whole lot that it is not only the father figure that is needed, that is required for to raise a stable child and a fully functional child, that also the we need the presence of the mother as well, that no parent should prevent the other. Because if we assume that it's only fathers that are absent, there's also the issue of child custody. On a few occasions, the child custody is granted to the either parents, though most times it is women that win custody. But on some few occasions, men also are granted custody of the child or children when there is a problem in the home. And what Reverend Amao is telling us right now is that both parents are needed. Until this interview, what is most popular, what I think, what I've been hearing most is that it's about the father figure, it's about the man, it's about the male in the life of the child. But right now, he's telling us that no, it takes two to tango. It takes two, the couple, male and female, father and mother figure, father and mother, Homo sapiens, to bring these children to the world. And that it also takes the two. They need to be present to actually nurture these children together. And that is a bit of learning for me. Not just father figure, mother figure. He extended it to say that sometimes there could be some intervention. If both partners are not present, it is important for both partners to be present in the life of the children or the child, but also that if one of those figures is missing, there should be someone that should be able to represent that gender in the life of the child. And I believe everyone will agree with him that Nigeria, the system is more of commercial education. Private education most times is more about profit over people, about the population of the students. You might want to reorientate your camera. Just take it yeah, just flip it a little bit. It's still portrait. So the business side of it is more of what the school owners are after. It's like profit over
I,
people. I'm here able to hear you now.
I can,
Ah, where did we get this glitch from? Your video is perfect. We are still having. Can you reorientate your camera, sir? Yeah. So, JK, you can take care of that in the chat with Reverend while I continue my recapping and what he has said until we are ready, and Reverend Amao can speak up. Reverend Amao, you want to speak first? Until you speak, I won't know how your audio is. When you are ready, just say hello. Well, I don't know. Sorry if we make you feel uncomfortable. We had our own fair share of this kind of experience, Reverend Amao. So it's not a new thing. We had an international guest sometimes ago on a recording, and this kind of struggle even aborted it aborted the transmission. I mean the recording that day for a full channel. So please, I don't want you to worry too much about it. Please speak so that we can hear you, sir. All right. So while that is taken care of, Reverend, whenever you are ready, just say hello. Don't worry about interrupting me. Go ahead and interrupt. Say hello when you are ready. Now I can see that his video is actually freezing. I was going on with the aspect of profit over people, POP, that parents actually invest in these children heavily. They pay a lot of money to get them into these schools. Some of them, these schools are by name, some of these schools are by reputation. Some of these schools have actually had bad pedigree over the years. But from what this educator and child psychologist and consultant is telling us, some of these, in fact, we actually know, a lot of parents know that it's not even in the cost or the price they are paying for the school. It's about the value that the schools are adding to the children, right? So people go to school, they choose these schools for class, some choose it for status. We even hear of parents sending children to school in order for them to commingle with or mingle with the VIPs. The parents can afford it, and they want their children to grow in the midst and relate with the VIPs. Like there's an African proverb that says, the rich befriend the rich, the poor befriend the poor. So when some parents have the money to send it just because of the price and the pedigree of the children, the class, the social class of the parents that sends their children there and the children that attend, because their view, their thoughts process is that if their children relate and make friends, yes. So if they make friends with the children of the rich, they also will become rich. And due to that, that is what these parents actually do by just the class of the schools they send their children to. So I'm trying to get some help from the back end, and sorry, a little distraction here. Right, right. So, I mean, what he's saying is very, very practical, because you will see sometimes parents get frustrated that what are they paying for? What are they paying for? Because there are some gaps they see. The parents put down so much money, and the school is all about money. And sometimes the parents can't see value to that. They don't see the value that that money they are paying is bringing. And these schools, apart from the fact that you pay the tuition, you pay the school fees, sometimes they come up with, some kind of launching. They come up with some kind of things. They send the children home to still bring to school in order for the school to be able to provide some things for them. And it's about pay, 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 pay. Sometimes they don't even pay their teachers well. Sometimes they don't reward the teachers well. The teachers are not even motivated. You hear you're paying high school fees, and some schools don't really. So ultimately, the end result is that these children, because what they are rendering, these schools, what they are rendering is services. Their their services, because their employee, their staff is not motivated, you might not even get the real value of the kind of money to the level of the investment that you are putting in the children. So that is relatable. I expanded on that so much because almost every teacher in a school, rather especially the private schools, want to go start their own, because what they see majorly is the business model. They see the business model that I too I can do this thing. I just need a building, and that's why we have mushrooming. We have a lot of mushroom schools scattered all over the place. And I do say that the private school system in Nigeria has not so much added that much of value to our system. It's even probably part of what contributed to the fall in the standard of education in Nigeria. Yes, because up to today, most schools are, yeah, if you can check out my video on a woman that spanked a 3-year-old child earlier this year. Yeah, it's in my channel, that teacher spanks 3-year-old. You will see where I said that the public schools, yeah, recently they are not well funded, and a lot of facilities or infrastructures may not be as present as it used to be in the past. But do you know what? A lot of public schools, especially in the West here, and I believe that will be the case in most states in Nigeria, they have a structure, they have a system of administration and of governance. Education is not just about instruction, it's all about also about supervision and governance. And because of the governance, they have the ZEOs, the Zonal Education Authority. I don't know the one that works for the primary schools. They go around, they have school inspectors that inspect the schools. The only problem majorly that most schools are having is overpopulation. When you look at this infrastructure, the buildings and the student teacher ratio and the teaching materials may be lacking. But when you talk about the quality of teachers, you find the best of them in the public schools. Why is it so? It's because the public schools have trained teachers. As I know about West here, I know about Lagos State, I know about Ogun State, and Oyo State, or let's say the I'm just being careful here, because I don't want to talk for states that I have not been to, I do not know. But in Lagos, for example, you cannot even be a classroom teacher unless you have education qualification. If you have a BSc or a Bachelor of Education, I don't know, even maybe the PTA can hire you as a spare tire, like a support teacher. I don't know what they call them. Maybe in the area of mathematics or whatever. But for you to be in the mainstream of most teachers, I think I'm correct on this, that you find in the employ of the Lagos State government, for example, they have something education. If they do not have a degree in education, if their degree is in arts or engineering or sciences, they are made to train or get some certification. They go to the National Teachers Institute and get some certification from there, like a postgraduate degree, just to give them that, teaching, you know, uh, not the credential, teaching skills, instruction skills, impartation skills, and to understand, uh, more about education and to be able to be teacher that has direct contact with the children. And that's why when you see learning bees, it's usually public schools that's a foundation by the wife of the former governor, now the wife of the president, who is the former governor of Lagos. Public schools excel. When you go to the universities too, some parents know how to get value. They know that there are some legacy universities, some universities that have been around for so long. Yes, like I don't know what they call them, like those universities like OAU, like UI, like Unizik, like Amadu Bello, like Unijos, like Unilori, like Unilag. Some of those schools, if I miss out your school, please, and you know that's one of the institutions that still has, I mean, all the institutions have value, but the point is that some parents will target their children that if only they can get the score and the grades that will get them into those schools, they don't even bother about sending them to, the private universities, because they feel that if not for the infrastructure, the quality of learning. Funny is enough, you will find out that the teachers, the lecturers of these private universities, they are not invented, they are not imported, they don't fall from heaven. They are part of the Nigerian society. From what I know or knew right now, just permit my English, before I left Nigeria, some of these lecturers that are, you know, from that are the strong, that they are the mainstay, they are the real facilitators, they are the resource people of these private universities. They are visiting lecturers from the public universities. The only thing is that the rules are different. Some of them they may have one kind of attitude in the public sector where they are coming from, or whatever the way their instruction is. But when they get to the private institutions are they are better monitored, and they are closer supervision, and there are some kind of structures and kind of templates in place that the lecturers have, just to make sure that they are doing everything to quality. So the quality of instruction, supervision, and delivery they have in the private schools, this same set of human beings. And that's why you will see that our problem is not about public or private, it's just about the system, it's just about monitoring. You see, um Reverend Amao, you can say hello, so I know if your audio is stable right now, and you can unmute yourself and reorientate your camera. So, yeah, so it's the same set of people. Of course, the private universities, some of them have, permanent lecturers, but there are also crossover lecturers from other public universities in Nigeria. Reverend Amao, you can unmute yourself and say hello. So that's how we will know whether your audio is stable now.
Yeah. Hello, hello. Can you hear me properly now?
Yay! Welcome back. You might want to
Thank you very much.
reorientate your camera. Everything is so perfect now. Just yeah, you can put it landscape. You are showing portrait right now.
Something like this.
Continue to flip
Oh,
it one more. Uh, maybe we can manage it this way. Okay, you can still need to flip it so that it can be landscape. Flip it. Okay. Did I mess the whole thing up again? It was communicating. It was really audible, and okay. All right. So guys, uh Reverend Amau is here to do this with us, and we are going to have to do it. I think I've done a lot of talking, but the fact that he's back, and I believe that he is back and better, just let us get him in, because we are going through a Zoom studio into the YouTube studio, and that's the connection that is happening behind the scene. Right. So, what I was saying is that with government, it is not profit, it's about investments in the people. Education is government responsibility. I don't know if to call it social infrastructure, is part of what makes governments responsible and the more enlightened the society is, the more the people of the society can engage, right? So that profit part of the private schools is so visible. They are more about the profit. Only a few have that passion, like in the past when we had schools like Mayflower with people like Tai Shulari. I went to a private school myself, a private nursery and primary school in the 70s, which wasn't very common around then. But the kind of instruction that we got was very, very quality and commensurate with the fact that our parents had to go out of their way, because the public primary school system was also fantastic. How do I know? When we got to secondary school, the students, the pupils, our mates from the public schools, they were as good as us, even better in some cases. You understand? It didn't matter how much we went to pay in the private schools, they were very competitive, very, very competitive. Welcome back, Reverend Amal. Maybe we'll manage portraits if that is what will happen. uh, we still need it.
Is it working this way?
The audio is perfect, your video is good, but just try and flip one more time because it's slanting you. Just a flip.
Okay.
Perfecto, perfecto, perfecto. Muchas gracias. Keep it that way. Keep it that way.
All right.
Sorry, we dislodged. What will I say now? Okay, welcome back. Evan, you want to pick up from where we stopped? Maybe because we are talking of Japa,
Yeah.
and then the whole thing was
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Maybe this is the reason why Japa is necessary, so we can have better internet, because I don't know what's going on.
Go ahead.
So I was saying, yeah, Japa can be necessary because we see what's happening in our country. And it's I'm sorry to say, but it's a show of shame, actually. We have a situation whereby we have we are potentially one of the richest countries in the world. A country like Nigeria in other parts of the world has social services for its citizens. For our citizens, let's look at South Africa, for example. South Africa has child grant. For every child born below the age of 18, the parents are entitled to a certain amount of money. South Africa has old age grant. Like if once you're 65, you start earning a certain amount of money for the rest of your life from the government. I think it's like 2,000 rands, which is about 100,000 naira.
Wow.
Every single month. They have disability grants for those that have one kind of disability or the other, and they can not afford to work any longer.
Wow.
They have a wide range of grants, tailor-made. They even now have a social distressed grant, which they instituted during the COVID time for unemployed. Now they've converted it to basic income grant.
Wow.
So now we have a nation that the system is working for its citizens. But what do Nigerians benefit for being Nigerians? And one of the largest oil-producing countries on the planet, what do we benefit? Not even free healthcare. Let's say you're not even giving any Nigerian grant. There should be at least free healthcare. But let's say that our population is too much and we can't afford free healthcare for everybody. Let's have free healthcare for children under the age of 15 or under the age of 10 even. Or free maternal health care, okay, for pregnant women or something. We don't have any of that.
You were talking
about free health care for the infant.
You're talking about
we do not have.
So those are some of the reasons.
We're talking about Nigeria now.
Why people Japa. Please help me locate.
Yes.
You are in South Africa for like 20 years plus. Are people going to South and some kind of things they meet, especially those who were exiting for greener pastures? What's your observation on those?
Due to the hostility of the South African population, hostility toward black immigrants, not toward white immigrants. You can go from the UK now and go to South Africa. Even if you're a homeless person in the UK,
wow,
you can go to South Africa. They put a shed on you. you'll be accorded the highest level of respect just because of your skin color.
Wow.
But you can be a professor from Nigeria and you go to South Africa and you'll be undermined because they believe in the country where you are coming from, you are staying in trees and you don't have homes where you stay.
Wow.
In fact, when I was teaching, a student asked me whether we have cars in Nigeria. Because the history, they don't teach them proper history. So that apartheid and Bantu education can continue, they taught them that in other parts of Africa, everybody is suffering. It's only South Africa that blacks are enjoying. They are the only one that have access to everything.
That's
So
what they
that
teach
they
them.
will think that,
That's what they teach them.
yeah, so that they'll think that even during apartheid, even while they are being oppressed, even while their land is being taken, even while their freedom has been curtailed, they are still better off than every other black African. That is what they believe.
Right.
So when apartheid became over, and a lot of Africans started migrating to South Africa, now they were expecting to see dirty Africans. They were expecting to see uneducated Africans. They were expecting to see Africans that are very ugly, that do not even know how to flush a toilet. But now they see Africans that are professionals.
Sophisticated.
They saw Africans that are professionals. They saw Africans that are clean. They saw Africans that are very eloquent, well-versed, and highly educated. They never expected all of that. And as a result, they started to become resilient. And they began to resist the influence of other Africans. And for them, it became a huge competition for survival because they believe that other Africans are here to take over their jobs, take over their businesses, take over their land. But the whites that have been doing that for a long time, they are fine because they are their masters. So the fact remains that if somebody wants to jackpot right now, they are free to do so. But South Africa is not the right place to jackpot to.
Wow.
And somebody going somewhere where you do not have any source of income, where you do not have any employment, you just feel by the time you get there, you will just be mining gold on the ground. It doesn't always work that way. A lot of people that have jackpot, a lot of them, it's the shame of coming back without nothing that is still keeping them wherever they are for the past 15 to 20 years.
Wow.
The
Wow.
shame
Wow.
of coming back home that you've traveled for 15 years, you don't have anything. Don't get me wrong. There are some people that it has favored. Okay? But I have a belief that a lot of people that traveled and they are still trying to find their feet after 15, 20 years, that if they stayed back home in Nigeria to establish themselves, maybe they would have been doing better by now.
Wow.
I'm not saying Nigeria is perfect, but because of the population of Nigeria, there are a lot of business opportunities that are yet to be explored. But because of the negative news, everybody's talking about Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is terrible, that nobody can survive in Nigeria. It makes the youth think that have the same mentality, and it makes them lazy. It develops a kind of apathy towards thinking and creating business opportunity for themselves. Because they've concluded that in order for them to succeed and to survive, they have to leave the country. So instead of spending time trying to look for employment or spending time trying to develop a business they can get engaged in or spending time trying to look for opportunities that they can exploit, they are looking for how to japa. And they spend time looking for how to japa, but they become useless in the present because they are focusing on japa only and they are not creating opportunities for themselves. Because in every calamity, there are opportunities. Even the way there are lots of calamities in Nigeria, where there's kidnapping, there's banditry, there are lots of things going on. There are opportunities and businesses in protection and security. There are opportunities along those lines. So I think Nigerians need to start exploring, because you look at flights coming from outside the country, and there are lots of white people coming into Nigeria. The same Nigeria that a lot of Nigerians are leaving. What are they coming to Nigeria to do if there are no opportunities in this country? So I'm saying there are opportunities, yes, but jackpot the right way. A lot of people will spend like 25 million, 30 million to go to get a student visa in Canada. And at the end of the day, they get there and things are not as rosy. But with 20 to 30 million, with the right guidance, you can actually have a successful business here in this country.
Mm.
So each to their own. I will never discourage anybody from going overseas to look for work, but it's not the kind of thing I will do right now
Mm.
because I've been through it and I've seen the ins and out of it.
Wow. What did internet make us lose? Reverend Amao, you are coming back. Oh, you have to tell our
Ah,
viewers that you are coming back because maybe, I don't know whether the internet is afraid that we shouldn't get all this information out. That's why it became very, very quirky because you are
mm.
dropping gold back to back. So I want to ask you, if we ask you to come back, hope you will oblige us, sir.
Yes, yes, I will. I will work around. I'll work around it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll give you some gap before we do that because we have our schedule up to like already April and early May already. We have people coming. But sir, if I let you go without asking this question, it will not be fair to you and to our viewers because the moment Nigerians hear psychologist or psychology, what comes to their mind? You're already smiling. Is that someone that reads other people's mind? Let me
Mm.
tell you, even me that I'm sitting here, I read too much of James Hadley Chase when I was growing. And when
Okay.
I took my first form to go to university, I wanted to become a policeman. I wanted to become a cop because I've read too much crime books. This is true life story. I had admission into three different places to the College of Education to read economics and maths, and into the university. I was applying for psychology, and also my uncle wanted to pivot me to Polytechnic to go and read accounting. Whereas I was
Mm.
focused on that psychology, I wanted to read criminology. But when you look around, it was only Kwara Poly or something that was offering something like a diploma in criminal something there. Nothing else like criminology in Nigeria. So the closest to it was psychology. I just told you that even me, I am complex. I'm guilty of that. Do you get it from people when they say, do you read people's mind? They are careful with you because you're a psychologist. When they are talking with you, related, is this something you can relate? This conversation, reading people's
Yeah,
mind.
well, I can't read your mind, sir, Mr. Jimmy. I can't read your mind. That's
Do
for
people
sure.
tell you that? Do people say
Yeah,
it
people
like
tell me that. People ask me to guess what they are thinking. I said, no, I have to put your behaviors into perspective to kind of draw a conclusion on your personality. Not that I kind of figured out what you're thinking, but I can figure out personality traits by looking at people's habits or asking a few questions. But it's not that we can read people's minds, yeah. And also, we do a lot of counseling as well. People tend to be suicidal sometimes, and
hmm,
we tend to look at the intricacies and find out what is the trigger. We look for the trigger point. What are the triggers that is leading that person to suicide? So, in fact, in the last year, I counseled a lot of people that wanted to end it all and
really
passing for free, basically. And what I found out was it was debt that was driving them to do it. They were under
Nigeria?
pressure. Oh, yes, because they were owing people a lot of money and they were under pressure and they were receiving lots of phone calls and a lot of threats. And some
Wow.
of them felt like, oh, it's time I have to end it all. You see?
Ah,
So, and so I am able to counsel them and tell them that using my pastoral inclination and orientation and my psychology training psychology, I was able to counsel them and let them know that that's not the answer. That problems have a way of being resolved with time. If you are unable to resolve it, time has a way of resolving everything. There are
amazing.
problems that you feel in the next 1 week you will not survive it, and this is 1 year now you are still alive.
Wow,
So
amazing.
problem time has a way of resolving problems. So people say no, I can read minds, but I can't read minds. I can't. It's not. That's not what we do.
Thank you. Briefly before we finish, I wanted to, we don't need to extend because we have to switch over to the next channel for the next interview. Reverend Amao, please, can you help us in just like 30 seconds to 1 minute? You've been in South Africa more than 20 years
Hmm,
before you relocated. Uh,
hmm.
do you speak any of the local languages there? And uh, you want to tell us about that and how much value does that add to you over there and right now as an asset to you?
All right. I speak a bit of Zulu actually, and I speak a bit of Xhosa as well.
Wow.
N- Now The reason why a lot of South Africans don't like Nigeria is because we go there being pompous. We don't want to learn about their culture. We don't want to eat their food. We don't want to learn about we don't respect them, basically. I must say that. Well, a lot of Nigerians go there with their shoulders high. My country is better than yours. My language is better than yours. My food is better than yours. You don't do that. When you go to a
Hmm.
country and you say, I'm a visitor in your country, teach me your language, teach me your culture, teach me your way of life. Let me eat your food. Let me try it. That's how they learn to like you because you respect them, you respect their languages, you respect their culture. But it's a pity that we as Nigerians, we hardly do that. So I speak a bit of Zulu, yes. Yeah.
Amazing. What will be your last word on this program as we round up today?
Okay. My rounding up word will be that a person can achieve anything in life if they are focused and determined. Focused and determined. Even scripturally, if there are non-Christians here, let me just quote one
Apologies
scripture. Uh, Scripturally, Paul said, I press towards the mark.
of the high
Philippians
calling.
3:14. I press towards the mark. The high calling of God in Christ Jesus. He said, I press towards that mark. I'm focused on
Hmm.
that mark. I'm determined to reach that mark. But he said, I press toward it means there are forces pressing against me that don't want me to reach that mark.
Wow.
Nothing comes easy.
Hmm.
Anything worth doing is difficult. Anything worth doing is difficult. So keep pressing until you reach that mark. That's what I'm going to say.
Very good way to end it. I think a lot of Nigerians need that counsel. They need that focus. They need that, resilience. They need that dedication. They need that consistency. They need to stick to it in order to get to the goal that they have in mind. Thank you, Reverend Wasiu Adekunle Amao, a child psychologist. You have a master's degree there, and you're a consultant, in learner support, a learner support consultant both in South Africa and Nigeria and also globally. Thank you very much for coming on our program. OMS Consulting, this program will not be complete without appreciating them for being our technical back end. You can see when we were offline, they were the ones taking care of things in the background until they got Reverend Amao back to the screen with us. Reverend, we apologize for whatever the network did to us, but we appreciate what you have done. It's loaded already, and I know that when we do the short forms of these, people are going to learn a lot because we have to break them down into conversations that people can relate with. Before OMS yanks me off this call, they are not, they don't play with their professionalism. Let me say, please, if you have anything that is new media related or anything social media related, they have a very proper, end-to-end consulting firm that can help you even with virtual assistants to manage your social media channels. If you are too busy and you have something to add value to humanity, you can just do the talking like I'm doing now. They will do the editing, they will do the graphics, they will set up your channel for you, and they will help you manage it at a very, very affordable fee. Well, I'm not an investor in OMS, but I am proud of the service they render because they have supported me in ways beyond what I could even pay for. Thank you, OMS. And thank you, viewers, for always coming to do this with us all of the time. Thank you, Reverend Wasiu Adekunle Amao. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care and bye for now.